From Craig Rolson in Europe, David Gerber in Brazil, and our editor-in-chief and publisher, Don Oshman, it's time for this week's Sunday Night Week in Review.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of the HideNet Sunday Night Week in Review Market Report. My name is Don Oshman, editor-in-chief and publisher of HideNet Reports. It's Sunday, December 7th, the day that shall live in infamy when the Japanese attacked the U.S. fleet in Pearl Harbor. It shows you how time heals all pain and problems, and now our two countries are very closely united, which is good. Anyway, this is not a geopolitical report. It's about the Hyde market. Craig Rolson writes from Europe this week that in that market, some selections, he's our editor there, that some selections were lower, but like every place else, the not every place else, but the automotive type highs still managed to hold their own, but everything else was definitely a lower undertone and lower prices. Volume was only moderate. And as in the United States, at least, and I don't know about Latin America, but probably there as well, some of the under-the-table transactions go on. Because if you're a supplier and you're not getting a letter of credit, or your customer maybe has financial problems, and a big enough buyer comes along and says, I'll pay you the market minus, and I'll take shipment, and I'll send you a check tomorrow, people are selling considerably below listed prices. This we hear from Europe and from North America as well. Also, there's a lot of European travel going on, European dealers and exporters now traveling in China or Asia, trying to get LCs. It's the claim season, is what happens when markets go down. But you know, really, markets are down, but they're not down 10 or 20% since the peak. They're just down significantly, but not that great. And that's since October, September, early September, all-time highs. Anyhow, some renegotiations we've hearing, and also in the UK fresh hide market, some lower prices are being talked about. UK 36s are reported $97 CNF main Asian port this past week. Also, Craig has a report on the Istanbul Fair report, which mainly is about sheepskins and lambskins. The attendance was smaller and has a pessimistic tone. As he says in the hallway, conversations were relatively pessimistic. North America this week, the first American, internationally really, HideNet International Hide and Leather Forum took place on Thursday. Very well received. The registrants were far beyond the number we expected, and we had a lot of major technical problems. We had terrific speakers in Mike Larson from Tyson and Pat Ayatt from Lazy Boy Furniture, who couldn't get on. The technicians couldn't handle that, but we did have a wonderful conversation with Andy Seward, who is now a consultant, but recently was the leather buyer at Clark's for many, many years. And we'll have more on that in the future. As soon as these technical problems are corrected, which we hope in the next week or two, we will do this again. And because there was such great demand, people want to hear it with a video and all that. So stand by for that. We'll tell you how to do it. Back to North America, the market was down this week, typically about $2 per piece on about every selection. Some were more. Somebody said, where are the Asian buyers? Well, you ever hear the expression, you don't want to catch a falling knife. Even if they need hides, and I don't know if they do, that's another subject, they're afraid to buy unless they can really buy below the market because their business is not so terrific and they're not dying for inventory. That's a general situation. Bottom line is the market keeps going down, and we say what we think is going to happen next week in the U.S. Week in Review and why we think it'll happen. So get a free trial and you can see. Also, we talk about the West Coast port update, which is really hampering exporting and importing of any kind of business in the United States. It's very major. Unions are still arguing with the people who own the ports or manage the ports. Also a story about Eagle, how they've expanded, a big expansion. Mexican hide demand, which came out of the Worldwide Footwear Seminar or Congress in Leon, Mexico last week. Some more stories coming out of that. Very successful situation. In America, North America this week, holiday week, we had Thanksgiving 2 weeks ago. So the Packers did not kill one day. The whole trade was on holiday, and still slaughter, which was what was slaughter? Anyhow, sales were below slaughter. Even a 4-day week slaughter, sales were below that, which is really depressing and tells you why the market's gone down. The combined outstanding, what wet blue and raw hides are owed, hit a 9-year low this week. Although there's 2 million less hides produced compared to a year ago as well. That's 7.4% now, something like that. Anyhow, Looking ahead, we write about the size matter. Prices are dropping. The kills are down. Why? Is it because the kill? Is it because demand? Read it and find out. Latin America this week, David Holz reports from Nuevo Hamburgo. The fresh green prices are down in Brazil. Wet blue crust is down in Argentina, and finished leather, I presume, as well. There's a story on Brazilian leather exports, which are higher than they were 12 months ago, but that's in dollar value, not in square footage. But both Brazilian TR1 is now as low as $1.85. It was at $2.10. It seemed like yesterday, but it wasn't. So it's come down again. It's not at $1.85. There's some business at $1.85. There's also a report on Minerva, how they've done. This week in leather, our editor Vera Dordick reports about China's monthly national leather output being up. Quarterly reports on Natuzzi, the furniture upholstery manufacturer, Coach, and Brown Shoe. Also more report on the World Footwear Congress in Leon, which was almost 2 weeks ago now. Information on that. And how an Indian company has filed a patent on a revolutionary tanning breakthrough. Speaking of breakthroughs, we're having another forum this Thursday, the 11th, in Beijing. Su Sheyong and his associate from the China Leathers Association is going to be speaking. And you've got to understand Mandarin to get this, but they're going to be discussing the same topics that our panelists did last week in America and in London, England. So it'll be very interesting if you can understand Mandarin. Just go to forum@HideNet.com. Forum, F-O-R-U-M, at HideNet.com, and it'll tell you how you can register for that event. And another English forum in English is coming soon with some other industry leaders on our panel. Thank you for watching. We'll be again here at the same time, same station next week. Look forward to speaking to you. Thank you.